3, 4. Check, check.
Jimmy?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's good. All right.
All right, Donovan and Dino with you on a Tuesday night here on 3 News Facebook Live and also on YouTube with Jim Donovan. I'm Dave DeNatale. We're brought to you, as always, by our friends at Master Pizza. Remember, download the Master Pizza app and earn those pizza points today. That's Master Pizza, taste above all. Jimmy, a lot of things happening in sports, but not necessarily involving Cleveland tonight. Yeah. First and foremost, for anybody who's a baseball fan, it's World Series night. I mean, I feel like the Cubs were in town yesterday for Game 1 of the World Series, and I can't believe it's been 3 years. But what do you, when you look at the Astros Nationals, not necessarily maybe how the people in New York or people at Fox may have drawn this one up, but I think it's going to be an intriguing series.
Oh, I think so. I mean, their journeys have been completely different. Washington started the year off, just awful, and of course had lost Bryce Harper, and everyone just thought it was going to be a dismal year, and it looked even as though that they were going to fire their manager.
Right.
Early in the season they were off to such a poor start, and then all of a sudden they catch fire and they make it, and they ride the wild card trail into the World Series. So that's one journey. The Astros is different. I think everybody knew they were going to be great, and they lived up to that. They were great. And the series against the Yankees, though the last game was, like a movie.
Yeah.
It really was. The other 5 were kind of strange. The Yankees never really, for all of the offense that people talked about that the Yankees had, they really didn't hit in the series. They didn't hit. And Aaron Judge didn't hit. Sanchez didn't hit. Edwin Encarnacion hasn't hit it. He still has not made contact.
I couldn't help but think as I was watching the Yankees and to the point where they were going to bench Encarnacion for Game 6 or Game 5 or whatever it was.
I would have done it.
And I'm just sitting here remembering having that discussion, when they made the trade and brought Santana back, just remembering the first time Edwin Encarnacion has a big hit for the Indians, it would be the first time he's had a big hit. I can't name, and everybody likes the Parrot and like this, but I still can't recall one great moment he had as an Indian.
Well, I'm sure it was in some insignificant game, and then, Sports Time Ohio made a promo out of it. But other than that, no, I can't. He was terrible in this postseason for the Yankees. The thing about the Yankees, and it's happening a little bit more in baseball now, is that people load up in their bullpen rather than their starting pitching. And that's what the Yankees did. The Yankees had a real fragile starting rotation all year long, and were criticized, Brian Cashman was, for not doing enough at the trading deadline to try and get a quality starter to come in there.
Trevor Bauer, for example.
And they said, well, we're fine. Our starters are only going to go 3-4 innings, and we're going to go into that bullpen. But boy, the Yankees' pitching was very, very suspect, and their starting pitching was really bad. Yeah. Other than Tanaka, there wasn't anybody that gave them really a quality start, and even Tanaka had his problems, when he pitched. But the basic thing was they thought that they would hit around all of those problems, and they didn't do that. I love the way the Astros play. I don't know if they're stealing signs. I thought that was an art, not a crime. But anyway, if they're doing it with technology, that's wrong. If they're doing it the old-fashioned way that they're picking up the indicator and where the guy's going, that's one of the tools of the trade in baseball from long ago. But they're a great team.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, that Altuve is unbelievable.
Yes.
The guy's, he wouldn't qualify for getting on most rides at Cedar Point because of his height, and yet he hits the ball 450 feet. Off of Aroldis Chapman, no less.
Of all people.
Yeah.
And
only Rajay Davis can say,
that's right.
I own Aroldis Chapman.
And Brantley has, at no surprise, has fit in perfectly.
Oh, man, I'll tell
perfectly
you
with that team.
The play he made in the outfield, the diving catch and doubling off the runner at first. You're right. He fit in perfectly. So for him, I kind of lean towards Houston.
Yeah, I kind of am.
I really
hate to say it. I'm kind of am too. I'd like
to
see him win it.
I really applaud the way Washington played, though.
Yes.
I mean, they really played well, and they dominated the Cardinals, of course. But to just get there was amazing, their road to get to the playoffs. A great job done by them. And you know what? They have some starting pitching. I mean, they have some starting pitching. I don't know if their offense is as well balanced, though, 1 through 9.
Yeah, Max Scherzer might have to win them 3 games for them to win.
Well, Dino, in 1967, when I was but a lad, Bob Gibson won 3 games for the Cardinals over the impossible dream Boston Red Sox.
Against Jim Longborg.
That's right.
Yes.
Who then went on, do you know the story about that?
I don't know if I do.
He then went on the dating game.
Yes,
okay?
yes, that's right.
And he selected a date, and they went skiing, and he tore his knee up.
Tore his
and he
knee
was
up.
never the same. Never the same. Yeah.
So the moral is don't go on the dating game. Or in this case now on the 21st, don't go on The Bachelor.
Incidentally, this was the dating game. This wasn't...
this was Jim Lang in the dating game?
Yeah, this wasn't the where they would, hey, do you want to go on the date? We'll pay for the date.
Yeah, not Love Connection, not Chuck Woolery and the Love Connection.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 2?
2. Okay.
Seems like we've gone off the rails.
We have, and that's why we haven't done a show in a couple of days, so this is what happens. Cavs open up tomorrow. The NBA actually officially gets underway tonight, and I got to tell you, I'm kind of intrigued to see Lakers v. Clippers later on tonight and see Kawhi Leonard with the Clippers and Anthony Davis with the Lakers and how well Davis and LeBron James team up together and you know, who may be the dominant team of the West now that the Golden State, you know, the big 4 of Golden State's been broken up a little bit. I'm pretty fascinated. You know, it's tough because I'm used to being as a Cavs fan, and you know, it was only 2 years ago when the Cavs would have been playing tonight on national TV,
Absolutely,
and we would have all been. Jimmy would have done the front row from the queue, and I mean, we would have been. Or now the Rocket
literally in the front row.
In the front row. I mean, everything's different, but it's still intriguing, I think, as an NBA fan and as an observer to see what else is happening while we, you know, worry about the Cavs tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, the West is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, really, Golden State, now with Klay Thompson probably out for the entire year, Steve Kerr kind of hinted that that's going to be the situation with Klay Thompson. He, of course, tore the ACL in the late in the playoffs, finals against the Raptors. They might not even make the playoffs in the West. Now, even without Klay Thompson in the East, they probably would make the playoffs. But in the West, they probably won't make the playoffs. A lot of people say that's pretty amazing. So I don't know. Who's the beast of the East?
Who's the beast of the East?
I don't know.
I mean, no more. You don't have
probably Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, yeah, because I mean, it wouldn't be Toronto. Not without Kawhi Leonard now.
You know,
I mean,
I don't think it's the Celtics.
Yeah, Sixers maybe.
I would guess, that would be an interesting, an interesting team to look at. I would agree. Yeah.
I mean, I know there were obvious reasons why LeBron James wanted to go to Los Angeles. It was, you know, besides the fact that the Laker mystique and to be in that market and everything. But I wonder when he gets into the Western Conference playoffs this year, if the Lakers, I mean, we thought they were last year and they didn't even get in, but compared to the East, I just sometimes wonder if LeBron in the back of his head goes, "What was I thinking?" You know, it's one thing maybe to leave Cleveland and to try to win championships somewhere else.
Right.
But man, you make it twice as hard when you play in the West with Houston and I mean the Jazz are going to be good this year. Portland is going to be good.
Team. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, well, I think a lot of people said that you know, he on opening night when LeBron was with the Cavaliers, you knew the Cavaliers were going to be in the NBA Finals.
Yep.
Because there was a relatively easy, smooth path through the East. I mean, the Celtics took them to 7 games. I realize that, but that was. I think we always still felt the Cavs were going to win that series. That was perhaps the shaky. I mean, that was a strange year. You remember? I mean, they went 7 with Indiana.
Yes.
They went 7 with the Celtics. Yep. So they always had Toronto's number. But I think on opening night, you would say safe bet the Cavs are going to win the Eastern Conference and be in the finals. Now, can they beat Golden State? That's how the NBA. On night number 1, you kind of knew that was the way it was going to be.
Will they have enough?
I don't think that's
I don't think
scenario
that's the case.
this year.
No, I think it's wide open. And you know what? It's good. It's good for the league. Maybe after you have 5 straight years of Golden State being in it and everything. Maybe it's good. I mean, maybe it's intriguing and it's fun. two other points with the Cavs. I mean, we'll have more time, obviously, tomorrow when they start the season. But as we do the show, Fox Sports Ohio is airing a tribute tonight to Fred McLeod. And I know you were one of those who got a Fred McLeod
I
tie.
did, yes.
You and Bud Shaw, I think Nick Camino did too, all got ties
from Beth McLeod. Yeah. Fred,
very special. That's
really, I was very touched by it. I have to tell you, I came in yesterday, and there was a package on my desk, and I opened it up, and it was a beautiful brown and orange striped tie.
Which I thought was very appropriate. Yep.
And I have to tell you, that was really nice. And gosh, that's, even I think the impact of what happened there, and Fred, just suddenly passing away, I think it will even hit us again tomorrow.
Yes,
for the opening game of the season, that he's not there. And it's tough, and I'm sure it's difficult for his wife Beth, because they were
so close,
very close couple. So,
a couple of quick questions or a couple points here we got on the World Series here on Facebook Live. I'll read these here real quick. Jeremy says it's crazy thinking about both Michael Brantley and Yan Gomes, of course, with Washington being in the World Series. It's a shame we could not re-sign them. It's interesting. I mean, Perez, for I would say 2/3. Maybe more, maybe 3/4 of the season was really good. He kind of tailed off towards the end, but I thought Roberto Perez had a great year.
Yeah, I did too.
All things considered.
I mean, very surprising power.
Yeah, very surprising power.
I thought and I love Gomes. I thought Gomes was a great receiver.
Yes.
I thought he became a very sporadic offensive player. Because early he was a
silver slugger his first couple of years. Yeah.
Ever since he had that knee injury against the Tigers that time, he wasn't the same offensive player after that. But I mean, defensively, I thought he was great. I thought he had a great throw. But I thought Perez he really received a nice game. So typically, when a catcher tails off at the end of a year, he probably played too much.
Yes.
And I don't think they had enough behind him.
Agreed.
You could give him a little bit more time off.
Yeah. The organization hasn't made too many, especially in the last 5 years, the Indians organization hasn't made too many missteps. I mean, the trades they've made have been good trades, and the people they've picked up, I think, have been sensible free agent pickups or whatever. Not re-signing Michael, not figuring out a way to twist around the budget or not bringing back Michael Brantley. That was a mistake. They haven't made too many. That was a mistake.
I think they would admit that now. I really do. I think that, granted, he had missed substantial amounts of time with injuries, but you had lived through that.
Yes.
I mean, you had lived through that, and there was enough intel that told you he was going to be okay.
Right.
And the difficult thing is, I mean, he's one of yours. I mean, you went through everything with him. And you went through these times where he wasn't a part of postseason play.
Right.
And even if he wasn't the same player because of the injuries. And I get that. But the fact of the matter was, I mean, he was a key contributor that I would have put my chips on him that he was great. And it's easy to say now because he did have a great year. I mean, he was an all-star. But the fact of the matter is, just a great player. And I think people, that's what hurts, is when you see a guy that you followed throughout his entire career, and he comes up, and then he leaves you.
Yeah.
I wish him the best.
I wish him the best.
Do.
That's one of the reasons why. Last thing here, that's a Browns point here, but it's good. We'll have a lot more time, obviously, the rest of the week here to get ready for the Patriots and the Browns.
Well, according to Bill Belichick today, there's not enough time.
There's not enough time.
Not enough time.
We're on to Cleveland. Jeff,
can you imagine? Let me just say this.
Please,
about it. They won last night. I don't know if you've heard, 33-0, in as dominant a performance as you'll see.
Yes.
Okay. Now, they are great, but the Jets are terrible.
Yes.
I mean, they are terrible, okay? So, figure that in, though. But just the body chemistry of this thing, they got home probably 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and Bill Belichick was on a conference call with Cleveland media at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Yep.
And it sounded like he had never gone to bed. And I bet that's the case. That guy's amazing. He's a machine.
And it's not like he's not 38-year-old Bill Belichick coaching in Berea. I mean, he's in his 60s, and he's just like not missing a beat.
Unbelievable.
Not missing a beat.
Yeah.
I mean, the Browns have had a couple of Monday nighters this year. You know what that's like. I mean, traveling on Monday nights, not fun.
No. You're very cobwebby.
Yes, the next day.
Up the next day.
But here's a point from Jeff, and we'll certainly hear more tomorrow from Freddie Kitchens. He says, I may be in the minority here, but Freddie might be making a rookie move if he puts a new offensive lineman in against that Patriot defense. And New England's played against bad offenses, but right now we're a bad offense. Do you expect to hear at some point that, and I know Mary Kay had written about this last week, that there may be, whether it's Robinson or whether it's somebody else, there may be a new starter, 2 new starters on the O-line?
I will not be surprised. I think it is going to happen. And I think Robinson is going to get sidelined. And I think this has been something that they have been addressing with him. I don't think they've felt that he's played well all season long. And I think you go back to that opening game and the position he put the team in by kicking that guy from Tennessee. And that, I'm not so sure that started it, but let's say it did. I mean, that's an obvious jump-off point that look at the position he put them in.
Right.
I mean, that tilted that game all out of whack because then they got an injury, and then they had to move this guy here and Hubbard over to the left side. I mean, what a mess.
Right.
And, you know, that's a real problem, and that's a very, very bad thing to do to your team. And then it's continued, Dino, with blown assignments and holding penalties and, you know, maybe not the most supreme effort. The guy that finished last year has not played this year. And I think the other members of the Browns offensive line have noticed it and are ticked off that he's played that way. I will tell you that. Now, the other move would be Teller going into right guard for Cush. I think the general manager would like to see that happen because he gave up 2 draft choices to make it happen. As far as, you know, going in to the game, would it be suicidal to do it? You know, they've had some time to do it. I think it's been coming anyway if it happens. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see. I do think you're going to see a move, at least 1, if not 2.
And I would argue it's time for we've seen, you know, I mean, he's almost had half of a year to get himself.
Well, the other thing, Dino, is
he hasn't yet.
The story that came out last week that almost weekly they've been calling Washington to try and get a deal done for Trent Williams tells you they're not happy with the way Robinson has played. So
and they still have another 8 days to maybe try to get, or 7 days. Or actually, I think what are we?
A week from today.
Week from today, yeah. So they still have another week to maybe get that done. We'll wait and see what happens. It's only Tuesday, folks. We've got more time to talk Browns and Patriots, and honestly, tomorrow we'll also get you kind of our thoughts on the Cavaliers as they tip off a brand new season when they'll launch things tomorrow in Orlando. Jimmy, it's always a pleasure, my friend.
Okay, thanks.
All right, and a pleasure for us to be with you. Thanks for watching here. It's Donovan and Dino, presented by Master Pizza on 3 News, Facebook Live, and YouTube. All right.
All right.
A Jim Longborg reference.
That's